Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Monica Kalra shares with us the social stigmatization of divorce in certain cultures and how to heal after divorce in episode 91.
You are letting go of all that past because that does not define you. You are able to now, you have that opportunity now to establish yourself, establish a new you because and generally what I find with my clients as well is that they get caught between their past and also thinking about their future. So it's about just letting go of being in that relationship, letting go of the idea that you could not recognize the red flags in a relationship, letting go of not being able to be a role model to your children for being in an abusive or an unhealthy relationship. It's about coming into the present and living your own life. And this is also a time wherein you can adopt a path of self reflection, a path of spiritualism, a path of understanding yourself, and at the same time, regaining your inner power.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Sharlene Lynch from sharlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is here to help victims and survivors of domestic and family violence find their way back to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview experts and survivors who share their stories and offer advice to those who've experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we also hold annual Pamper Days here in Adelaide, South Australia, for survivors of domestic and family violence. Our local businesses come together and pay it forward to provide their services and resources for a day of indulgence. Think day spa on steroids. And we're looking for organisations and people with similar values. So get in touch with us at Healing Through Love. We're so proud to say in 2023, so last year, Healing Through Love went global. And now we have 8 locations around the world who are having their own Pamper Days, and we are so proud to be supporting them with that. Now, every week we interview amazing guests, and this week is no different. We're interviewing today Monica Kalra, and she is the founder of Revorce, embodies the essence of revital and resilience. As a seasoned divorce and relationship confidence coach, she shares her inspirational journey of reclaiming personal power after breaking free from an unhealthy relationship. And that is so common for our listeners, is to be involved in an unhealthy relationship. I'm wondering, what advice can you share for our listeners today in and around how to shift away from those unhealthy relationships?
Oh, there's so much more that our listeners can do. And before I begin that, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show. So thank you so much, Charlene. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to be here. Now, if I come to your question regarding what people can do when they are in an unhealthy relationship or when they're getting out of an unhealthy relationship, first and foremost is the idea of reflecting on that relationship, because that relationship has given you certain golden nuggets to reflect on. Reflect on your own relationship patterns, because if a relationship becomes pear-shaped, we also have a role to play in it. So therefore, looking at our relationship patterns, looking at whether we were able to resolve conflicts or whether we had unmet needs, or whether how many times were we able to resolve our conflicts, were we able to express our needs. So there's a lot for us to reflect on. The other thing that people can do is rebuild social connections. Because after a divorce, generally people find themselves quite isolated, because there are certain common friends that we lose, or in certain cultures, um, divorce comes with a lot of stigma. And therefore, there's a lot of judgment around it as well. And people are torn between either supporting you or supporting the societal expectations. And thus, people who've gone through divorce find themselves quite isolated. So the best thing would be to then join certain communities whereby you feel connected once again, join certain hobbies that you haven't been able to do for a long time, so that you can, your talents, your skills can once again flourish.
Mm.
The other thing that people can do is, which I highly recommend to my own clients as well, is to look after yourself holistically. And by that, I mean looking after your mental, your body, mind, and soul. And it's important to, journaling plays a very important role, meditation plays an important role. Similarly, movement plays a very important role. To go out in nature, to join some yoga classes. It's about shifting your energy. So, movement is very, very important. The other thing that I recommend to my clients is about forgiving and letting go. It's about not forgiving of the wrongs that were done to you, but forgiving that past and forgetting it for your own good. You are letting go of all that past, because that does not define you. You are able to now, you have that opportunity now to establish yourself, establish a new you. Because and generally what I find with my clients as well is that they get caught between their past, and also thinking about their future. So it's about just letting go of being in that relationship, letting go of the idea that you could not recognize the red flags in a relationship, letting go of not being able to be a role model to your children for being in an abusive or an unhealthy relationship. It's about coming into the present and living your own life. And this is also a time wherein you can adopt a path of self reflection, a path of spiritualism, a path of understanding yourself, and at the same time, regaining your inner power, and then resetting yourself for future relationships.
Oh,
I
wow.
hope I've been.
That's a lot of words that start with R. So we need to take responsibility for our part in what's actually happened. And I love that. That really links beautifully to the Hawaiian poem, the Hawaiian saying of Ho'oponopono, where it starts with that level of, taking responsibility. I love that. And so you've talked about rebuilding. So rebuilding the relationships with others, because we need that connection, we need that community. You talked about taking forgiveness as well, and you also talked about reflection on the past. And yeah, that's great. Okay, so there's some very handy hints for our listeners who might be suffering or in a position where they're rebuilding a relationship. So if they've not headed towards divorce, but they've decided to stay with the person, what are some hints and techniques you can share with people in and around working on re-strengthening and rebuilding an existing relationship?
That's a beautiful question once again, Sharlene, because um, when we are in that relationship, we can do so much more to ensure that it becomes healthier. Um, First and foremost, the first is to ensure that you are appreciating that person. The word thank you goes a long way. We tell our children to thank everyone. However, as adults, we forget to thank our partners. So it's about looking for that innate goodness in our partners, making sure for anything that they've done good for you, rather than always being critical. It's about looking for that goodness in that person. Whether it's if they took the bins out, thanking them. And it's not just saying thank you, but actually specifying why are you thanking them. So saying thank you for taking the bins out today, or thank you for helping me out with the lunch boxes. The other thing, which obviously, because we all know that 70% of the divorces take place because of lack of communication. So making sure that you are spending at least 15 minutes every day and you have an agreement around it that every day we're going to sit for 15 minutes. And these 15 minutes are not to criticize each other, but to acknowledge the goodness in each other. Because our relationship consists of three entities: you, your partner, and the relationship. So it's about honoring that relationship. You spend those 15 minutes thanking each other, because when we are thanking each other, we're also thanking the relationship and the love that exists between us. Uh, this is also a time you can also strengthen your relationship by not fixing each other's problems, because sometimes people just the partners just want to share what's happened with them. So it's not about fixing any relationship. It's not about killing the experience of a person. When a partner is telling us that they are sad, instead of saying, oh, what's there to feel sad about this, it's about validating their experience, that they're actually sad because that's what they felt. We are also not to rescue the other partner. You tell me and I'll go and sort it out. Your partner may not want that. And at the same time, which comes very easily to all of us, is giving advice. It's always avoiding to give advice unless your partner's asked for advice. So making sure you're following all those. Then comes another aspect, and that is about ensuring that we are respecting each other. Because what happens is that we sometimes become passive aggressive, or we become cynical about certain things. We become very critical and we start taking a relationship for granted. Whereas respect goes a long way, because it's only when we are respecting each other that we are respecting the relationship as well. Having certain rituals in place. The rituals could be that every Friday night that you'll go out for a dinner date, and then following it consistently. Or you could have a ritual around how you, the very fact that you're sitting together every day for 15 minutes, where you are acknowledging each other and acknowledging the relationship, that could be a ritual in itself. So having any ritual that suits you, or we're going to have morning coffee together on a Sunday morning, or we're going to have a walk, we're going to walk together on a Saturday evening, whatever those rituals might be, following them consistently. And at the same time, making sure that you remain friends, because friendship goes a long way. Because if we are not friends with each other, then we tend to be critical. When we are critical, then comes contempt. And when we are in contempt, that leads to emotional detachment. So making sure that you are really good friends and remaining really present and curious for each other, because it's a journey to know the other person, because there are so many things that we don't know about the other person. So even playing certain games, there are so many games. Even Esther Perel has some games, taking those cards out and playing those games with each other in order to learn more about that person. So there's so much a person can do. um, Along with that, I would also emphasize on the fact that it's about being vulnerable with each other, because generally we're not vulnerable. We do not express our needs because we don't want to rock the boat. And what happens is that when we are not expressing ourselves authentically, we shove all our resentments under the carpet. And these long term resentments then have some very serious consequences on the relationship. So I hope I've been able to answer your
Oh, there's
questions.
so much in there to unpack. I love the rituals. So myself and my husband, we're newlyweds. We've got it's our anniversary actually coming up in 2 weeks' time. It'll be our first year. We have lots of rituals that we do that are things that we've created as a couple, which I just love them and I look forward to them. And yeah, I think that we're doing okay because we have lots of beautiful conversations and hold that level of vulnerability for each other. Don't try and fix each other, listen to each other. I love that you said you started this conversation here with about thanking them. So I really believe that giving gratitude, to your partner, to basically everything is the way to good mental health on every level. And I love your words in and around acknowledging each other, because I think that as adults, we don't get as much acknowledgement as we would like. And I feel that we need to be getting that from our partner. So if we're not getting it for our partner, that's sometimes when people stray because they're getting that acknowledgement from somebody else and they're not getting it at home. So I love it. I love the respect, and I love everything you said. This is fantastic. Now, is this beautiful information that you've shared with us about how to recover from divorce and also how to establish a amazing relationship that blossoms and grows? Are these some of the information that's in your books? Can you tell us a little bit more about your books?
Sharlene, I have two books. One of them is called How Do You Know He's the One? So, in that book, I talk about 10 red flags that exist in a relationship. And along with those 10 red flags, I also talk about the positive traits that must exist in a relationship. And my other book, which is called How to Heal from a Toxic Relationship, I once again deal and tell the audience, tell the readers about 10 strategies that they can adopt in order to heal from a toxic relationship. So both these books are available on Amazon, and they're available both in the Kindle version as well as in a hard copy.
I love that. And all the links to everything we'll put in the show notes and in the show description. Now, you also mentioned before the show that you run several programs. Can you tell me a little bit more about them, Monica?
Certainly, Charlene. So I do one-on-one coaching, and this one-on-one coaching is either to improve your relationship. So if you're struggling in your relationship and you want to improve it, I assist there because I'm a relationship coach. However, I'm also a divorce coach. So I also assist people who are going through divorce or through separation. So when we are doing this, I have, along with my one-on-one coaching, I also run group coaching programs. And most of all, I have a signature program called Revorce You program. And Revorce You program generally is around the idea where a person who's going through separation or through divorce or through a breakup, I assist them in reviving their inner confidence, reclaiming their confidence, and at the same time, resetting them emotionally to survive and thrive in their future relationships. So, my Reverse You program is very, very popular. And I would love your audience to join me for the Reverse You program.
That sounds fabulous. I love it. So that's a lot of offerings. So not only are you working one-on-one, you're working one-to-many, and you've also got group programs that are for relationships, but then also for divorce as well, recovering from divorce. I love that. Okay, so what's next for you, Monica?
I'm looking to get into podcasting myself. I've been a guest speaker on many, many podcasts. And I think the next step would be that I am a podcaster as well. That's one thing that I'd love to do. And at the same time, I would love to reach out to as many people as possible, especially people of culture, because divorce is so stigmatized in our cultures that I want to normalize the idea that if someone is in a toxic relationship, it is okay to divorce. There is so much judgment that comes around it. And along with that, I also want to normalize the idea of seeing a coach or being in therapy, because that's another thing that's quite stigmatized in certain cultures.
Okay,
So,
only certain cultures, because in America, if you don't have a therapist, there's something wrong with you. It's a thing.
yes.
I love that. I noticed that with all of my American clients there. I lived there for a couple of years, and everyone's got a therapist, and some of them have got more than one therapist. So it depends on the culture. I love that. And that's exciting. So you're in the right place, because our producer, Rose Davidson, has a program to teach people how to run their own podcast. She's also a podcast producer as well. So make sure you have a chat with Rose Davidson. You've got her email address. And that's exciting. So there's lots of information that you've shared with us here today that's going to be very valid for our listeners who are survivors of family and domestic violence, because they're either in a toxic relationship or recovering from one. Or, if they can turn the tables, they can rebuild, but that takes a lot of, as you've said, forgiveness and coming from a different frequency, basically, so that they can forgive themselves and forgive the other, and they can rebuild. So lots of work to be doing there. I love it. Wow. So you're going to be doing podcasting. Is there another book in the program coming up?
Yes, I'm still thinking about it. So there'll definitely be another one coming on. Certainly. Yes.
I love it. They're sort of addictive, aren't they, writing books? I love it. And so I've got to ask, as a relationship coach and a divorce coach, do you prefer to work one-to-one or one-to-many?
Both are good with me. I mean, it depends on the individuals. Personally, if you ask me, yes, I love to work one-on-one because, you get to have a better understanding of the other person and it's more customized. However, doing a group coaching one to many has its own advantages because all people in the group get a community whereby it's not just one person, but there are many people who are validating their experiences. So it just depends on how comfortable my clients are. Um, and I don't mind any of them because I love working with people, and the more people that I can assist, the better it be.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, so have you got any ideas about what your podcast will be about and who you'll be interviewing?
Um, I haven't given much thought about it, and yet at the same time, I have so many ideas. Primarily, it will be talking about things on relationships and also on divorce. More so about divorce because of its stigmatization in certain cultures, because I personally experienced something similar. And therefore, because of my own experience and because of my expertise in this sphere, I would like to have guests who can talk about divorce and about normalizing it and what people can do when they are going through a separation or divorce. And at the same time, I will also provide them that insight of how they can have healthy relationships. So it'll be a mixture of both, where I get people who talk about relationships and also talk about divorce.
I love it. You're like, Monica, a one-stop shop. Like, come here, I'll fix the relationship. If that doesn't work, I'll do the divorce. I love it all. I love it. If you're a marriage celebrant, you could do the full cycle. I love it.
Uh, Sharlene, honestly speaking, I used to be a marriage celebrant as well. However,
Oh, come
after
on, Monica, that's funny that you can do that. If you could give birth to people, if you were a midwife, that was it. You could tick all of the boxes and take care of everything and even bury them as well. It could be the Monica one-stop shop. I love it. So relationship is really, really important. Relationship with ourselves and relationship with others. Life is relationship. Whether you're running a business, it's in relationship. If you've got children, it's relationship. Life is relationship. And if we have got these little bumps in the road and we're not getting the outcomes that we're looking for, if we're not having those beautiful relationships, then you really need to get help, because let's face it, there's a really good chance that you didn't get the modeling for a good relationship and the modeling for a happy marriage. Is check in with that, because that could be something that is a story that you're carrying for yourself from your own childhood, or even the cultural background that you come from. So the only way to get from where you are to where you want to be is with a coach. That's it. That's how I got there. That's how everyone I know got there. You can't Google this stuff because you're going to get thousands of different responses. You can't watch YouTube because, again, you're going to get thousands of different responses. You need to seek professional advice, someone who's an expert authority in the area that you need. So if relationships is what you need, then come and have a chat with Monica, and her details are going to be in the show notes and also in the show description. I love it. Now, Monica, in closing, what words of wisdom would you like to share with our audience?
I would like to say that gratitude is where the entire juice in a relationship is. It's about expressing gratitude to your own self. And that way, we are not waiting for anyone else to acknowledge us. So, making sure that you have two journals, wherein one you are expressing gratitude to people, and another journal, which is the self gratitude journal, where you're expressing gratitude to yourself. The small things, the small wins, the big wins, it all begins with gratitude to your own self. So this is what I'd like to say, that acknowledge yourself, appreciate yourself, develop that best relationship with yourself, because once your cup is full, it's only then that you'd be able to pour out of it and give it to the others, rather than expecting others to fill that out for you.
I love that. That frequency is beautiful. Gratitude is a frequency of 540 hertz, which is right up there with joy and love. if you want to shift into a new dimension, if you want to shift into a new existence, you need to lean into that frequency of gratitude for everything, the sun rising, the sun going to bed, the fact that you can stand, walk, move, breathe, all of these things to be thankful for. It's such a blessing, Monica, to be with you today and have a deep dive into relationships, relationship with self, relationship with others, and if all else fails, marriage guidance counselor as well, in and around divorce. I love it all. It's beautiful. And I love the books and the programs that you offer. It's been such a blessing to have a conversation with you today. That's a goodbye from me here, Sharlene Lynch and Monica. And don't forget, if you're feeling like you want to make a difference, and whether you want to be a practitioner and hold the space for healing for someone on a pamper day, or you yourself are a survivor of family or domestic violence and you'd love to be pampered, contact us at Healing Through Love. We have pamper days all around the globe. Thank you. Bye for me.
Thank you, Sharlene, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.